Holiday home seduction. This is definitely the time. The next 4 weeks, 6 weeks ahead, people are going into holiday homes, and we're going to teach you in this episode what to look out for, what to do, and what not to do when it comes to your beautiful holiday home that you're going to go to for Christmas. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Well, good morning.
How are you?
I'm well. Apologies for being a little bit late this morning, everyone. I was having some technical issues getting everything up and running.
All good. We went from an iPhone to a laptop, and we're all good now.
Yes, correct.
So, Zanth, coming into the Christmas season, people are taking out holiday lettings. There's tips and tricks of what to watch out for. It's popular, I guess, because at the moment airfares were just so expensive for a lot of families this year. When you added up for 3, 4, 5 in a family to go on a plane and back, so a lot of people have opted to still stay in Australia and travel to Australia. And I guess they're going onto websites like Stays. They're going into websites like Airbnb.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Look, I generally do tend to agree. Taking the family away at this point in time is so expensive overseas, and a lot of people have already done their overseas traveling. So staying within Australia to see family, to see friends in what is meant to be the most festive time of the year is absolutely a viable option. And there are so many places that you can find affordable accommodation, be it a unit, a townhouse, or even an actual house for the majority of people out there. The most popular of which I find that talking to my friends and other clients through Novak is definitely Airbnb.
And so I guess there's two perspectives of this. There's a perspective as a tenant. So looking at it, looking for staff, taking staff, what are the things to watch out for? I guess there's also, it's an attraction for landlords as well, because sometimes people have their own house and they're moving out of their house. They're not going to be using their house for 2 weeks or 4 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks. They're going overseas. That's attractive to rent out your house on Stays or Airbnb. And another attraction, I guess, is if you've got a vacant property over this period, it's like, you know what, why don't we put some furniture in there and do like a Stays? Branca from our office does that with a DY beachfront property.
Oh, nice. And did she have to go through strata and check her bylaws and make the owners corporation aware of that? Just if you are an owner and you're interested in putting a property up for Stays, you would have to follow certain loopholes to ensure that the whole entire of your strata structure and your owner's corporation is on board with that and aware, and there's nothing written into your bylaws that state otherwise that you can't do it.
Yeah, so when in that particular circumstance, she's okay. That's what I do find. If you are a Torrens title house, sometimes councils can even have an issue with it, but more so stratas. So some councils have designated days that you can do that with your homes. So they'll say, look, 90 days a year you can do it, but the remainder of the days of the year it has to run as a normal home. With councils, and sometimes with stratas, they basically outlawed it. So in Branca's circumstance, it's all good. The issue neighbours have with it is noise, because when people come, it's a happy time of year. You're on the drinks. You're staying up later than normal because you're not going to work tomorrow, and you're in a different cycle or a different clock to,
you want to have a party. Yeah. It's festive. You're having a drink. It's not your home. It's somebody else's. So what are you going to do? You'll have a few drinks. You'll cut loose, unwind. And before you know it, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you're still drinking.
Eat, drink, music.
Yeah.
The music's always up. You're certainly not watching a movie. You're up and out. You're up and at 'em on the balcony probably, and it's summer. So a lot of adjoining owners have issues with that in stratas. So there's that level of complaint. What's also changed from a landlord's perspective? and I've seen this with Branca in our office who's doing it, the level of expectation from your occupants, your tenants that are taking the property is just so much higher.
Oh, yeah.
She is probably the best host I've ever heard of or ever seen. The lengths that she goes to the minute lengths that she goes to make sure her guests have a great stay is just incredible. But what I also find equally is how petrified she is of the reviews.
They can be very damaging, but that's like any hotel chain. It's like any business, any agency, anyone at all. One bad review is just, it can be cutthroat. It can seriously make or break you.
And I think that the thing with the hotel chains is the infrastructure is there to support a normalised or a balanced stay. You know, your cleaners are always the same. The way the building's built is always the same. They often don't have balconies, hotels, for that reason, that they can control noise and safety, you know, for that. But I think the Airbnbs is just everything's so much more variable and harder to control if you're doing your home. So I've been watching Branca the last couple of years run that. It's been good. It's been lucrative, but like, by God, the amount of work that will go into it is just incredible. So that's seduction that we're talking about today. If you've just tuned in with Holiday Homes, the seduction of the money is very obvious when you're on the outset of, you know, let's rent out my place while we're not using it, or there's better rent through that period. But there's equally the other side of it, which is that sheer grind. The bottom line is, I do find after people have done it for a couple of years, it's not sustainable. They don't do it for 3 8.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it, absolutely a lot. And I do believe Billy's placing, one of the guys that we work with, Billy's placing his apartment up on Airbnb as well. He's got tenants moving in. I've also got friends that own houses around the Northern Beaches, and they're looking at Airbnb as well. And they've just said the amount of work to get it up and running, to furnish it, to style it, to get a professional photographer in, exactly like we do for a listing effectively. They need to do it all themselves and cop the brunt of that cost. And there's just so much work that goes in. And then as soon as it's rented out to any Tom, Dick and Harry that wants to lease your place for that short amount of time, you don't know what they're getting up to, what's happening within your place. There's always that level of uncertainty, and you're trusting a complete stranger to take care of the property the way that you would.
So all in all, what I think is interesting with Airbnb is I think their penetration's probably done within the marketplace. Like it was like Uber, you know, when it first came out, and it was right,
absolutely,
it just sprawled out there, and it seemed like it could never stop, and it did. There seemed to be like that enough market saturation of Ubers to cover you know, the marketplace. And I think now you've found Airbnb's reached that saturation now, where, you know, there's, you know, any less, you just need more. You know, there's not enough property. Like it's just sitting at a beautiful little balance at the moment. So that's from a landlord's perspective, and if you own the property and you're renting it out on Airbnb. What about from a tenant's perspective? There is that, you know, is it I guess, as a consumer, good product, easy product? What do you reckon?
If I was to, it's all dependent on where you're going. If you're a consumer and you're going to a highly populated area, shop around and see what's out there. You might find a hotel that's more suited to your budget and your needs versus an Airbnb. If you've got a larger family and you need more space and you want a home and to invite other people to that space as well, absolutely, Airbnbs can be the ideal way to go.
And then it also comes down as a consumer, like cost-wise, I would have thought for the larger families, like, you know, if you look at getting a whole bunch of hotel rooms, it's pretty goddamn expensive.
Do you
know what I mean? Like putting them into an Airbnb is just such an economical way. Now, I do have to say, I don't find that an easy website to use. It sort of frustrates me a little bit. I feel like they're channeling me into what they want me to see, not what I want to see.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. I haven't had a problem with their website. It suits me just fine, but maybe that's just the age difference that you and I have.
You know what I do
Like
like?
clean this a bit.
Stays. Stays, I find it seems to be much more. It seems to be more of a conventional search.
Okay, I am not overly familiar with stays, to be honest.
Probably an age thing again. Yeah.
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 So that could potentially be something that I look at over the festive season. I've got a week and a half off, and who knows where I'll be and what I'll be doing. But I certainly do hope to escape out of Sydney, see some family and some friends. And I would just plug into Google where I'm staying to find anything to suit my budget, and then compare that to an Airbnb as well.
And then something that blends a little bit as well, almost blends both of these, is bookings.com.
Correct.
So bookings.com seems a pretty aggro, easy. It's very chomp for the people that are renting their places out, I hear, on bookings.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we mentioned before, shop around. It is the festive season. Catch up with friends, catch up with families, and let us know what you use as well. I mean, Mark and I have mentioned a couple, but we don't know everything that's out there in terms of the holiday housing seduction. So if there are others that we haven't touched on, let us know so that we can refer those to our clients as well.
There is one more. Oh God, I wish I knew for the episode what it was. It's a house swap international website.
That's fun. That is fun. I don't own a house, but if I did, if someone was living in France and they wanted to come to Sydney and I wanted to swap a house for a period of time, what a good idea. That's balls on. That's a good idea.
It's out there, it's active, and you can. It's a bit like a dating app, I guess, where if you hope that house is as good as yours, and you hope their house is as good as your house is as good as theirs, and you effectively do a swap for like a 2-week or 4-week period, whatever that may be. So there's some really, really good options out there aside from hotels. I am surprised that hotels have survived and endured. I thought when Airbnb first started launching, I thought hotels were finished, but it seemed like people still love the option of a hotel.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. You hit the nail on the head. It's just having options. You can't remove hotels completely, much like taxis, surprisingly, still around. They still exist. You still see them. They haven't ceased to exist. That's the exact same with hotels.
I think people enjoy the variety or the optionality of being able to go, I can do this, I can do that, and you can sort of surf around and check it out. But a good old-fashioned hotel compared to an Airbnb is, I think you feel pampered a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just this level of everyone in the hotel is on the same vibe. There's facilities.
Get your room service, have your meals delivered to you, get your bed turned down every day. There is absolutely that level of service where you do feel a bit bougie, and depending on where you stay in the hotel, you do get that next level of service.
It is. But look, I think it's really relevant. People are doing it now. And I think we've sort of covered a lot of those avenues. From a landlord's point of view, we've covered at the beginning, doing your property on an Airbnb or doing it on a stays. From a prospective occupant point of view or a tenant point of view, we've looked at that. Cost versus on both of them, we've looked at that today. It's pretty interesting. It must be a big market. It must be like huge. I'd love to know the amount of money that's
Well, it's definitely coming back up there. I mean, if you look at our travel over the last 2 years, it's effectively been non-existent with all things shutdowns and lockdowns and everything else. So it's come through the other end, and now all anybody wants to do is break free and do a little bit of traveling. So it must be at the moment absolutely booming.
It's huge. I did think that there was so many that came online, and I did think that I thought, oh my God, that's not going to be matched, because people did the holiday house thing, bought the holiday house thing through COVID, and I thought there's going to be too many of them. And then I thought international travel is going to smash it. Everyone's going to go overseas. There's going to be a big oversupply of stays properties and an oversupply of Airbnbs. Seems not the case. It seems like it's been. I'm shocked at how hard it is again this year to find a stays or an Airbnb.
Yeah, it's leveling out, but still equally as popular. What about you? Are you going to stay in Airbnb or a stays or anywhere this festive season? What are your plans?
Oh, I think we're going to jump on a cruise ship. We haven't booked anything yet. Out of Sydney because those airfares are a little bit bananas.
Yeah.
So just do something small for 7 days, probably in January sometime. And you got a week and a half off. What are you doing?
I do. Well, I'm actually going up to Foster to see my uncle, and the whole family's getting together up there. My uncle's quite sick, so we're all getting together and rallying around him for Christmas.
Hanging out with him.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to him in his health.
Well,
And
thank you.
have a great day, everyone. That's a bit of a chat from two real estate agents' perspective on the holiday accommodation market.
Seduction.
It's a huge. It is seduction. You know what? Even just when you think about it, it's refreshing just to think about that holiday home and getting away. It's awesome, and it's that time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Oh, that song's going to be stuck in my head for the whole day now. Thank you, Mark, on that note.
All right, Zach, have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Bye for now, everyone.
Oh, we got Nicole saying something. Wait, hang on. Oi.
My sister-in-law has built 3 homes on their land in Lura, and they rent them all out as B&Bs. You can take one, or you can take the lot, or if it's a big group, you can even have the main house. That's one thing we didn't touch on, Mark. B&Bs, bed and breakfasts.
Yes. I sort of think of them under Airbnb anyway.
Look, I do. I don't really think that there's something that we see much of in the city, but when you get out to more of the regional towns outside of the city, you see them all the time as you're driving through the streets. There'll be signs out the front to say bed and breakfast, vacancy, no vacancy, things like that. It's one thing that completely slipped my mind, to be honest. Out of sight, out of mind.
Because when you say Airbnb, you never think of breakfast, but you're talking proper bed and breakfasts.
Yeah.
They're a good option. You know what? We did it when the kids were younger. Don't book anything.
You just rock up.
Yeah. Just jump in the car. We did the Great Ocean Road or did different parts of around New South Wales. Didn't book anything and just jumped in the car and
was it a great experience though?
It was awesome.
Oh, good.
So to jump in your car and do your bed and breakfasts or your Airbnbs, not a bad idea again. Don't get angry if you miss the hotel room that night and you sleep in your car.
Pimping out people like a van. That's very popular at the moment as well.
Yeah. Bit of a camp.
Camp out in your van.
That's sick.
Yeah.
All right. Take care,
right.
Sarah. Have a great holiday with your Airbnbs and your holiday home seduction. See you, legend.
Yes. Bye.